Hey guys,
It's the Spider Pals podcast.
Back with another episode.
I'm Gwen, aka Addie.
I'm Peter, aka Zach.
And I'm Miles Morales, aka B-Man.
Oh my
Reveal our
gosh.
face. Reveal our identity.
Oh, so much better.
We have done the face reveal. Everyone's going, he's not black. And I'll be like,
So, these are our faces. Yep.
This is me.
Okay, so I guess we should go ahead and not make a big deal out of it and just go on with the episode.
Yeah, just go with it.
Guys.
All right, guys. Today we are going to be discussing our personal rankings of all of the main chronological Spider-Man movies.
So this includes Tobey, Andrew, Tom, and the Spider-Verse movies. So what is should we go down or up? Like, what is...
Let's start from the bottom and work our way up.
Least favorite ones.
Least favorite, bottom of the totem pole, Spider-Man 3.
Yep.
That it shouldn't exist. I quite frankly forget it exists because of how horrible. The only thing I like about it is the Bully Maguire memes. That's about all we need from that.
Yeah, that's about all we need.
Everything sucks. The CGI sucks. MJ sucks. Venom sucks. It's all just trash.
Personally, the MJ and the Tobey universe sucks. I do not like her.
She's just horrible in every possible way.
She only likes him because he's Spider-Man, and that is sad because he deserves somebody better. Mm-hmm. So
Sam Raimi was peer pressured into
totally forced
into incorporating Venom into the final movie.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
And so he had a problem of, oh no, I have 3 villains. How do I work 3 villains into one movie?
Yeah.
Well, rewatching the movie, they all take breaks.
They do.
At the beginning of the movie, Harry gets hit in the head by a dumpster. And he forgets about being mad. So he takes a little break. And then whenever Tobey gets for the first half of the movie, the Venom symbiote just hangs out in Peter's apartment. So Venom takes a break. And then when he gets the suit and he fights Sandman in the sewers, Sandman takes a break because he's like in the water right now.
Yeah.
But then he comes out right at the end.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you could have balanced the 3 villains a bit better.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely Spider-Man 3 is in the bottom. I still love the movie personally just because, like, I like all the Spider-Man movies. Like, I would totally sit down and watch any of them. But that is, like, my least favorite last option to pick to watch.
Second
last, I would say, personally, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. 50% about that movie, I love. 50%, I absolutely hate.
See, I just turn it off after Electro dies. We don't need to see the other half.
Well, it's not even half at that point. But
not even half, yeah.
Personally, I disagree. This is probably a hot take, but I honestly dislike Far From Home slightly more than Phantasm 2.
Whoa, okay.
I'm refraining. Zach's gonna come at me for this one. TASM 1. I love it, but I feel like villain-wise, I feel like the villain could have been just ever so slightly better. I do like so many scenes. I love all the Spider-Man movies, so this ranking, like...
They're all really cool.
It's so hard to rank them, but I rather watch, like, the movies above than TASM 1, just because, I don't know.
Okay.
It's just... Okay. What's the next one?
Well, next for me would probably be, and this may be slightly controversial. I already know it's going to be. Okay. But Spider-Man 1.
OG?
That's not controversial at all. I completely agree.
The only thing that it has going for it for me personally is nostalgia. Because it's the first Spider-Man movie I watched. But just compared to everything else, it's just honestly not that great. It's really cheesy. It's really cringy. I get it's supposed to be a comic book movie, but it's like not really my style. And the animation's quite frankly terrible. I mean, it doesn't really hold up. I mean, Jurassic Park, it's older, and that CGI holds up till today.
Yeah.
Not so much for Spider-Man 1, though.
Yeah. I definitely agree. I think the swinging scenes are pretty rough.
Some work.
There's some. Green Goblin will always be like a classic villain for me.
Oh, so yeah,
Like,
Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin's probably like one of the better parts of that movie.
Yeah,
for
even
sure.
though I didn't grow up with the Tobey Maguire, I guess I grew up with the Tom Holland movies just because those were the only ones I'd seen for so long. But I don't know what, Green Goblin will always be nostalgic. He's just a good villain.
The end, the final swinging scene in Spider-Man 1, where he goes up to the American flagpole. What does he swing his whip off of?
He's on the tallest building. Are we all in agreement for Spider-Man 1?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, I guess I'll start. Okay, for me personally, it would then go Far From Home.
Okay.
Spider-Man Far From Home.
I would put Spider-Man Far From Home lower. But then this would probably be the place where I put TASM 2.
You put TASM 2 there?
I put TASM 2 here. Wait, hold up. No, I didn't put... What am I ranking thing? Hold on. Let me write this down because I'm going to forget. Number 7 for me would have to be TASM 2 just because of Gwen dying. I love Gwen with my whole heart.
Number 7, TASM 2.
Watching her die was so sad.
Number 6.
Number 6. Okay.
Number 6, guys.
Gonna go with some people, I see a lot of people put this up there as like their favorite Spider-Man movie. For me, it just doesn't quite meet the bar. But Spider-Man 2. Yes. I think it's better than Spider-Man 1.
It is the best of the Tobeys.
But I feel like everything else beyond here is just better.
Yeah.
You know, it's not bad at all. Like, I enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah.
Except MJ being an absolute douchebag. But, you know. Yeah. What else is new in those movies?
Yeah, pretty much.
Are we all in agreement on that one, though?
I would agree with that.
I definitely agree with that.
Moving up.
Number 5. We're in the top 5 now.
Ooh.
Top 5. I would put Into the Spider-Verse.
Yes.
I know you guys are not going to agree, but Into the Spider-Verse. But okay.
I like Into the Spider-Verse. The soundtrack is just amazing. I think the Across the Spider-Verse and Into the Spider-Verse movies have some of the best soundtracks ever. I like it. It's just that now that the second one has come out, I love the second one so much more.
Mm-hmm.
So.
My 5th place, personally, I'm going to put Homecoming.
Okay. Hurts myself a little bit, but okay.
It's just second best Tom Holland one, and it's really good.
Yeah.
It's very rewatchable.
It is.
It is very... the comedy is just...
But the other 4 are better, in my opinion.
I will never forget, like, the first time we watched it all together. I've already seen it, but you guys haven't, and we were watching it, and...
Yeah,
when Tom walks up and opens the door, and Liz's dad is the vulture,
like the greatest
my face was like...
I don't remember my reaction of watching it for the first time, but watching you guys.
I was like, this was supposed to be just a low-tier Spider-Man movie. It's just like, oh yeah, it's a really chill movie.
Yeah.
And then, nope.
The biggest plot twist in MCU history.
Yep.
No.
About that. Well, it's definitely up there, but not one of the biggest plot twists, I feel like.
Next up on the list, for me, where I'm putting it number 4, when we were just talking about it, Spider-Man Homecoming. I love it. It's such a good movie. Like, it's a teenage high school comedy movie, but with Spider-Man. It's so good. It's probably I dare say it's probably the Spider-Man movie I've rewatched the most. Mm-hmm. It's super fun. Like, I just enjoy watching it with friends. Like, we've had a couple, like, parties where it's like, hey, let's pop in a movie.
Yeah.
A bunch of teenage friends, like, Homecoming is like perfect because you get the action, you get the romance, you get the comedy. It's so good, so rewatchable. You got Iron Man in there and Happy. They just add to it. So good.
I'm such an Iron Man fan. It makes my heart so happy to see him and Peter interacting. But for me, I would have to put Far From Home. I love Far From Home. I think Mysterio is a great villain. I think that was so far from the Marvel movies released after Endgame.
Overall, yeah.
I do think he's a very, like, they tied the villain in so well with, like, the reason he became a villain in the first place, which I know it's always a you betrayed me kind of thing, but I do feel like it ties in very well.
For me, I think you guys are going to be disappointed in me. You're not going to love me anymore. But I had to go with Across the Spider-Verse for number 3.
Okay, see,
but there's just 2 movies that just mean a little bit more to me.
It makes my top 3 as well.
Okay.
That is my 3rd option. So that is exactly the same as yours.
Okay, cool. So it's just, what more is there to say about this movie that hasn't already been said? It's like, it's so good. It's just the animation, the soundtrack, the choreography, just the way they set up the scenes, the lighting, the shading, the art style is just perfect.
Has been said before.
Yeah. The only thing that just debunks it a little bit low, like why it doesn't make number 1 or 2, just because that cliffhanger. If we had a more satisfying ending,
it's part 1, man.
I might be cooler. Well, I'm gonna wait so long for number 2. I don't really feel like being long, but okay, I have to.
Yeah, my ranking is number 3 is Across the Spider-Verse, and I know B-Man is disappointed, but I mean it's a good movie. It's just the cliffhanger has me in shambles, and then now we have to wait like a couple more years.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Well, well, my number 3 pick is gonna upset both of you. Okay, for the record, it makes the top 3.
He's gonna say No Way Home.
It's the top 3.
No Way Home.
It is the greatest. It is the greatest live-action Spider-Man movie to date, and there is no question about that. So I'm putting Spider-Man No Way Home.
No.
They brought back Tobey. They brought back Andrew, while keeping Tom. If you wanted a live-action Spider-Man, all 3 of them in the same movie, it was incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible enough to get a higher ranking on your list, I will say, because you have 2 more options. So I'm interested to see. If I was keeping track of it in my head right now, I would probably know which ones, but
I have a feeling like I know his 2.
Yeah.
All right, but let's move on to number 2. All right, number 2.
Joke, but okay.
Okay.
Number 2 is Spider-Man 3, and number 1 is Japanese Spider-Man. There you go. Those are the other 2 that were left, obviously.
Yeah.
Obviously.
All right. Number 2 for me. And I know this is going to be controversial because neither of you 2 already put this down pretty low, but Amazing Spider-Man 1. That movie, to me, is just...
I put it in 4th.
True, but I just really like that movie for multiple reasons. I love the suit, even though a bunch of people hate it. I love, the detail. I'm a very visual person, and just the way the movie is visually, the cinematic shots, the graphics, the animation for Lizard, and everything's very eye-catching, very eye-pleasing. It's just the lighting and how they choose to do everything is super well done. I like the storyline. It's super fun to follow. Andrew's my favorite Spider-Man. Gwen is incredible. It's just the chemistry is so well done.
Hashtag
it's
best girlfriend.
She's the best. For sure the best. Lizard was a cool villain. The backstory with his parents. It's a really good origin movie. I just really enjoy it. And then the Amazing Spider-Man 1 soundtrack.
Oh, yeah.
I prefer it over the Amazing Spider-Man 2 soundtrack. I just love it. It's so good. Just so many things, yeah.
For me, number 2 is Homecoming, just because it's so funny, and no one dies. And no one dies. There's... Rarely do you get a Marvel movie where no one dies. That is and I think it perfectly encapsulates the struggle of being Spider-Man while also being a student, because I feel like, especially in the Tobey Maguire movies, you don't really tap into the student aspect of being Spider-Man, because keep in mind, Spider-Man happened, in the MCU at least, when he was 14. 14, 15, that's younger than we are now. So that's when you go into high school and you're figuring out your classes, and then also everything with your friends is happening. And I think, especially when they mentioned that, Peter dropped out of band and dropped out of this class, he's failing in these classes, he's, not talking to his friends as much, that if you were to become Spider-Man, that would definitely happen. You would like lose contact with the high school side of you, I guess, and balancing the aspects of it. I feel like that's the only Spider-Man movie that really touches on the student and Spider-Man shared thing, because we see a lot with the job and like paying rent and like living an adult life, but we don't see a lot of the teenage life of also being a teenager and not having people see you as taking on that much responsibility, and we see that with Mr. Stark and all that. So I think I don't know, it's just so good. I love Homecoming so much. It's a really good movie.
Yeah. Solid answer. All right, Mr. Booth.
All right, you might be surprised on how I order the last two, but I'm putting in number 2 Across the Spider-Verse.
Okay.
Recency bias has wore off, and I've realized I really, okay, I'm going to stand by this. I really hate the suit.
The suit is kind of bad.
I hate it. It's so much worse. They took everything good about the Into the Spider-Verse suit and it's like, hey, let's attempt to make it better, and then just end up making it worse. The bleeding armpits and then the logo. There's no more red. Sorry, black and red, more like black.
Yeah.
I'd argue more that there's more red on the Across the Spider-Verse suit than
because of the bleeding armpits. But like, it's bleeding armpits.
Yeah.
Like, how is that an incredible design choice? It's not.
And the logos aren't nearly as good.
And yeah, the cliffhanger, just an unsatisfying ending. You're just like, what happens next? And like, just that kind of tanks the rewatchability of it.
It does. Honestly, it does.
Oh yeah, great movie. The ending. See, once Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out, then it's like, yeah, just binge both of them at the same time, and you'll have a blast. But by itself, I'm putting it at number 2.
You guys might think I'm a little weird for like describing this like feeling or emotion to you guys, but like I don't know. The last half of that movie, it has a very serious, not very joyful, fun tone to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's serious and it's good writing, but it's not really like something I want to rewatch and relive over and over again, like Homecoming or Amazing Spider-Man 1, where it's like rewatchability is really high, because especially Homecoming, it's funny, like you laugh, and like action, it's all great. But with the second part Across the Spider-Verse, it's very serious. It feels very dark. It feels like hopeless in a lot of ways. Like it's not going to work. Like nothing's going to work out. And it has this very cold emotion to it, which isn't like
Infinity War vibes. But then with Infinity War, you had Endgame. Well, actually, sorry. I can only speak for this now because I've gotten into Marvel where both of them are already out.
Yeah.
So Infinity War, Endgame has already come. So I'm assuming, like, Addie, you were at the stage, right, where you had to wait for Endgame, or no? You did?
I cried for so long after Peter dusted. I was so upset. And I was lucky I only had to wait a month, because I got into Marvel like right before Endgame came out, and we finished sooner than we thought. Our plan was to watch them in order, that way the day after we watched Infinity War we could go to the movies, but it just didn't line up, and I was very upset, and my parents went to go see it without me, and I was so sad.
Yeah, but like in the case of Infinity War, you can watch Endgame right after and be like, okay, satisfying ending. But yeah, right now with Across the Spider-Verse,
don't got that.
It's just part 1, and that's why it's number 2.
Yeah, I agree with that. Oh, not in my ranking, but the opinion of the movie.
All right.
You're number 1.
I think I know what it
is.
I
mean, there's no, it couldn't miss, but Spider-Man Home forever be. It's my second favorite movie of just all time in general. It means a lot for a number of reasons. Big one being, watching the trailer, like the first teaser trailer came out, and I was starting to hear rumors of all 3 of them being in it. And at that point, I had seen Tobey's, but not Andrew's or Tom's yet. And I just was like, that's interesting. They're going to bring like 3 characters, like all played by different actors into one movie. Like that seems really cool. And then from there, I was like, well, we went and watched Homecoming and Far From Home with you, and it's like, okay, well, we gotta watch some. Well, Doctor Strange is in it, so we gotta watch Doctor Strange. But so many friends at work were all like, well, you can't just watch MCU just for Spider-Man. Like, you gotta do it all. And then you were saying we gotta watch them all.
Yeah.
So I kind of started Bravery and my dad and I on all like watching them all, and we were watching. I mean, we didn't have like a set schedule as to when we would watch each movie. We basically watched the entire like current MCU. The one that just was like Shang-Chi or Black Widow. One of those.
Well, I think it was Black Widow. She was
Yeah.
like, oh, perfect. Right after Civil War, we can watch Black Widow.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Chronological.
And we watched just all the movies up until like the week before No Way Home came out. We rewatched Far From Home. And so literally like the next week we could watch No Way Home, and it was perfect. It lined up perfectly. And then on top of that, we got to go see it at a small local theater like
2 days early.
2 days early.
It was crazy.
Before it even came out. It was so cool.
Yeah.
It was the first time I'd worn a Spider-Man suit out in public. And so many people wanted pictures, and it was just a blast. I mean, and we did the whole movie theater experience. Like, we got the popcorn, we got the drinks, which we don't always do movie theaters. That's more of like a rare thing we'll do. But we got the popcorn, we got the drinks, watching the movie. And then just Andrew and Tobey come through the portals and just the crowd screaming. It was like the best movie theater experience I've ever had. I don't think it's ever going to be topped. Just the storyline was incredible. The acting, yes, granted, I was just talking Across the Spider-Verse and how last half is very like dark and sad and weighty. No Way Home did that in a slightly more cheerful-ish way, because now we get to see Tom Holland kind of go back to the comic accurate Peter Parker, where he's just alone in an apartment with nothing. And that's, yes, it's sad, but it's a little bit more hopeful than Across the Spider-Verse is looking out to be. Because with Across the Spider-Verse, it's kind of like, yeah, Miles' dad is going to die, and there's absolutely nothing that's going to change that. But with Tom, you know, he kind of has like, you know, a chance to like restart. And people have complained that like Tom Holland Spider-Man, it's like, oh, he always has Tony. Oh, he always has Happy. He has Aunt May. It's like he always, like, he can't be Spider-Man, you know, because he's not by himself yet. So the people who were making those complaints can now watch Spider-Man in the MCU and not have those complaints anymore, because now he has to start over from the ground up by himself. And we're going to see him kind of be more like Yuri Lowenthal's Spider-Man from PlayStation games, which is going to be really cool to see.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, all the acting was incredible. Andrew getting his redemption, saving MJ. Willem Dafoe's acting was so good.
Yeah.
Seeing like Tobey and Doc Ock interact again, just the pointing meme, the jump off the Statue of Liberty all together. It's like peak cinema.
Yeah, I remember when the trailer first came out, and this was when, I feel like, especially after, like, when No Way Home trailer dropped, I feel like that's when, especially our relationship, like, us three, I think we got so much closer, because at the time we were just, like, video games and that kind of stuff, and, like, we would talk about, like, our personal lives, but I think, sounds weird, but I think Spider-Man really got us, like, together. Like, I feel like it brought our relationship a lot closer, and I remember, like, trying to convince you guys to watch the Tom Holland movies. Watching the Tom Holland movies with you guys leading up to the movie, and then watching all the theories of, oh, like, I remember specifically there was this one, and it was the scene, it was just in the trailer, it was just Tom jumping, and it had Electro, and it had Lizard. Lizard was the main focus, and it showed Lizard being, like, kicked in the face.
And Electro's, like, going up. So he's not focused on Tom. Tom is focused on Sandman. The other two are focused on something else, and Lizard gets kicked. So it's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, like, watching all the theories of, like, oh, they're coming to the movies, and talking with you guys about it, and then just going to watch the movie theater experience was amazing. I went opening night. The movie theater experience overall, just going and hearing, especially in the place where I live, just because, like, you normally don't see people get excited for, like, nerd stuff, and, like, the whole movie theater screaming when, Andrew coming out, and, like, Tobey, and then it was just cinematic masterpiece is, I think, the best way to explain it.
That's another thing, that I really loved about seeing No Way Home early was like we had a bunch of friends and come with us as well, which, you know, when you get a bunch of friends together too, it's just like, it just elevates that even more. It's so cool.
Yeah.
And I'm really hoping, like, once Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out, I'm hoping all three of us, actually, we really made an effort to do it. All three of us see it in the theater, opening night, with our suits and that would be so cool.
Would be awesome.
And what happens. How Miles gets out of there.
Hopefully Gwen doesn't fall.
Hopefully Gwen doesn't die.
That would be great. B-Man, what is your third movie?
Number
one,
third.
Sorry. I'm thinking three with three of us.
Even though
Well, you haven't done yours, but I'm assuming it's also No Way.
Yes.
Yeah.
We just all talked about them. All right. So, well, there's only one left, and that would be Into the Spider-Verse.
Mm-hmm.
So, reasons. Well, the suit is infinitely better than Across the Spider-Verse. The Leap of Faith outfit specifically is my favorite adaptation of Spider-Man, personally. The music is... There are bangers in Across the Spider-Verse, but I think overall, Into the Spider-Verse has the best soundtrack. So, most animation before Into the Spider-Verse was like the semi-realistic, like Disney Pixar animation.
Mm-hmm.
But then Spider-Verse kind of just pioneered a new way of like messing with how many frames characters are animated for. Because like Miles is animated a new
on twos.
Yeah, he's animated on twos, and like that had just never happened before.
Yeah.
And so, just for the animation industry as a whole, Spider-Verse pioneered a whole new genre of interesting animation.
Yeah.
Messing with the lighting and flashing and different frames. And so, yeah, I personally think, and I just like Miles more than Peter. He resonates with me more. So, obviously, I'm going to put a Miles adaptation above Peter's.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
That's why it's number one for me personally.
Yeah.
It's probably a hot take, but there are probably a good chunk of people that agree with me. Respecting No Way Home, it's still third.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although when Beyond the Spider-Verse comes out, I feel like my top three is just going to be all three Spider-Verse movies.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then again, I mean, you're saying Miles is your favorite adaptation, so it makes sense.
It
that
would make sense.
All three of you, yeah. So
I feel like definitely the Spider-Man that you resonate with the most affects your ranking. Like for me, like the Tom Holland Spider-Man, like the way he just acts and like, especially since we see more of the high school side of it, and I'm like in high school right now. Like I resonate with that way more than I do with like Miles. Miles is a good example just because I have a very different personality than Miles, but like I'm closer to MCU Peter Parker than I am another Spider-Man.
And I'm like a weird like mix for like who I like kind of see myself as, because like in terms of Andrew, certain personality traits and just how I would handle certain situations more, and just like, you know, like suit design and like, you know, more focus on like relationship side of things with like people, whether it be like with Gwen or, you know, his family, Aunt May, finding out who his parents are. I resonate with that a lot, but I also resonate a lot of the themes with Tom Holland with like, you know, high school and like, you know, trying to fit in, you know, and also being like, you know, fun and like chipper and like, but I'm also like Andrew and I have a more emotional side, but I'm also like Tom Holland in a lot of ways with like the, you know, trying to always get back up, you know, have a more positive outlook on things. So I kind of like resonate with both of them, which is probably why No Way Home's like my favorite. Just they're both there, both characters. I feel like Andrew and Tom get the most development, if that makes sense, in No Way Home. Tobey is there, but he's kind of just supposed to be like kind of in the more of the background, like, hey, I've lived my story.
Mentor kind of character.
I've lived my story. I've got basically my life figured out. You guys still have a few things, so I can help you with that. Yeah. And like Tobey, it's mostly just for nostalgia. It's like he's a good Spider-Man. Like he's fun to watch and enjoy. Like I mean, it's a more comic booky, cheesy style movies, which I'm not like the biggest fan of.
Definitely, I think the overall resolution kind of, I don't know how to explain. I guess what people can kind of pull from this is that everyone's ranking is different, and like, especially the Spider-Man you resonate with the most is like, I feel like it's very important for everyone to find any fictional character that they kind of relate to. And Spider-Man is so easy for everybody just because he's a teenager, and a lot of us are teenagers, and he's not the superhero that's invincible. Like, he always gets knocked down, but he always just finds a way to get back up, and I think that's such an important quality that a lot of people struggle to learn in life, and seeing somebody else successfully do it, even if they're a superhuman and are able to do it. Also, at the end of the day, he's just Peter Parker, like us. He's a normal person. So it's nice to see that in superheroes.
Yeah. I mean, for teenagers and even, like, young adults and, like people like myself who are also, like, in college or just out of college. And it's like, you know, that's why I'm super excited to see Tom Holland's 4th movie come out. Because, I mean, he's going to be in that life phase. And it's like, I'm in that life phase, so it's going to line up. And, like, I'm really excited to see where that goes.
Yeah, and I'm about to enter it as well, so I'm very excited to see. I submit my college application in like 2 weeks.
Yay!
Woohoo!
Exciting!
So
you're going for MIT, right?
Oh God, no! I am not an engineer kid. I am good in science, but not engineering. Okay, well, I guess that wraps up the Spider Pals.
Wraps it up. We'll leave a little visual at the end of like all of our rankings.
Yes, and
do that.
We'll get it. So, okay. Well, it was nice catching up with you guys and talking about Marvel rankings.
Yep. Okay. We'll catch you in the next one.
Yay! Bye. Bye.
Bye.
And we are back filming another episode. We have already said that. Oh, I can let this hair down. I have
crazy hair.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, it's freedom, guys.
One, aka Spider-Man mask head.
My Spider-Man mask bruises a part of my nose every time I wear it.
Like,
I get a bruise.
That's what my Tom Holland does that.
Yeah.
Right, guys. Yeah. So we're going to be discussing our... How do I word this?
Really cut out on my side. I'm sorry.
All of it?
Oh!
You keep sounding like R2-D2, and it's okay.
Well, I forgot how I worded it. Look, no Spider-Man!